The book that I'm about to show you today is better than 90% of the books that you've already read. Don't believe me? Stay to the end of this video and I will prove to you why this book is better than anything you've ever read. Hi there folks, I hope you're having a nice day. In today's video I am going to talk about one of my favorite books and I will show you why exactly I like it so much. I will also introduce you to a literature which you have never read before and why it is so great. If you haven't guessed by my accent already, the literature that I'm talking about is Romanian literature. So, Romania is a small country in the east of Europe. And would you look at that? If you look on this map that I've just provided you here, you will see that it is colored on the eastern side of the map. What does that coloring mean? Well, it means that there is a Romance language, or rather a Romance language speaking country, which is situated in the east of Europe, surrounded by Slavic countries and Hungary. Romanian literature encompasses both Western expressivity and imagination with Russian nihilism, which gives birth to really cool books which you have never read about, and which I will introduce you in today's video. The book I am going to talk today is Forest of the Hanged, or Pădurea Spânzuraților in my native language. It is written by Liviu Rebreanu, which is basically the Romanian Dostoevsky. The author, which I just stated previously, has taken inspiration for this book from a photo that his friend showed him in the First World War of a forest that is full of hanged Czech soldiers. The other inspiration he took was from his little brother's tragic story, who was hanged for desertion to the Romanian side, in the First World War of course. This book is historic / psychology, however it has some elements of romance built into it. But don't expect too much of it shown, it's not really that much, it's more of a subplot. So if you're here for romance, then you're in the wrong place. Anyways, the book takes place in the First World War, in the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and it follows the story of a young Romanian man who was born, of course, in the Austro-Hungarian Empire, Apostol Bologa, who was enticed to join the army by his fiancée, who was fascinated by military men. From 1914 to 1916 he served his country faithfully, but then in 1916, after witnessing the execution of a Czech soldier which he himself condemned to death by hanging for treason, he had a revelation which made him question the morality of war and whether he actually needed to serve his country or not. After this event, sometime later, he finds out that he's going to be moved to the Romanian front, which starts a war in his consciousness due to the fact that he's an ethnic Romanian and he doesn't want to fight against his own brothers. So he goes to the general and begs him to not move him to the Romanian front, but the general doesn't agree with him and still orders his move. Therefore, Bologa decides to desert to the enemy side, however he gets stopped and injured by a counterattack which sent him to the hospital. After that he finally goes to the Romanian front, and I will not spoil the rest of the story because if you want to read it then you should read it, of course. I'm not going to spoil it. Now, this book is mostly Dostoevskian, meaning that it focuses mostly on the main character's psychology and psychic, which is something you'd also find in Dostoevsky's works like The Idiot or Brothers Karamazov. The themes of this book are war, religion, and peace, of course, but it also shows how life behind the front lines happens in the countryside or in the cities. Religion also takes a big part in this book because it shows the evolution from the main character's point of secular view to Orthodox Christianity. The atmosphere is mostly war focused, however it also describes the countryside life and how people interact with each other. The war part mostly focuses on how conflict takes a toll on one's mental health, on its thoughts and visions. This book is the only book that ever made me show any emotion, that made me shed a tear. I would recommend it to people that mostly read Dostoevsky and Lev Tolstoy, or rather Russian literature in general. However, any fiction lover would probably enjoy this book, since it is very well written and it's not really that long. All told, if you like Dostoevsky, make sure to check out Rebreanu, since I'm sure you like his books. He has two most important books, Ion and Pădurea Spânzuraților, and also The Uprising, Răscoala, which are all books that mostly focus on psychology of the main person and also shows life in the 19th and 20th century, which is something very interesting that is mostly found in Russian literature. I haven't seen any books in Western literature which focus on one psychic, which is very interesting. Until then, make sure to like and subscribe if you like this kind of short content. That's all I've got for today. Happy reading!